Hi there. It's Joseph from JohnTheHutDweller channel. It's very strange. I work with somebody who's kind of, I guess you'd call a spiritual terrorist. Girl, a little bit younger than me. Everybody thinks she's cute. She's got blonde hair and blue eyes. That's not my taste. I've never, I'm not racist against people with blonde hair and blue eyes. I just don't find them attractive. She's very Polish, and I don't like the Slavic look either. Um, just not attracted to that. But this person is pretty much a spirit, just terrorizes people with kind of Christianity, not, I won't call it Christianity, of her kind of evangelicalness, and it's to the point where I work alongside of a Scientologist who I mentioned that she thought he was a Christian because he kind of picked up on the little cues and everything, so I better say I go to church. And then I work with a kind of atheist pagan who won't talk about religion with her. And when I mean talk about, I mean you pick up people's beliefs just in passing. It's not like you directly get conversations. This is somebody kind of is a witch hunter um, about it, or even it's strange how these people, any type of high liturgy, any type of um, even mention of the saints or the Virgin Mary, very hostile. It's funny how the Protestants see especially the evangelical and this kind of neo-right thing, see um, anything they view that they would quote as Catholic, um, just worse than more opposed to it than they would be Hinduism or something like this, and very devoted politically to Israel, although I don't think they know why or how to get there. Um, but I wanted to mention that this person also is extremely sexually permissive. 4 different guys, same time. Not at the same time, but I mean, one night, another. You know, just no real relationship. Kind of has a thing with somebody out in California that she's thinking about marrying. Um, it's mentioned many times that she's slept with girls, and it kind of makes me wonder. There's something about not adhering to the disciplines of your religion, because one of Christianity definitely is sexual restraint. You can't. I mean, it's explicit. You can't do stuff like that. Um, and worse than, or I guess what worse than the Protestant hell is what us Orthodox see as hell. You lose your identity. How is now she Christian? Okay, she has these thoughts that she thinks that Christianity is a nice thing, but there's no action. It's almost like a type of nationalism, something that gets stamped onto you and you don't have to adhere to. Now, I recognize different genders, different gender identities, different sexualities, but I think it's um, something that's universal. That, let's say somebody would be a homosexual or a transgender, there is I mean, you can't really pull off the thing. Oh well, she's just screwing a bunch of people. It's just love. Well, it's not love. It's just physical gratification. And there's something more intimate. I mean, we people always talk. Oh, there's so much bad mouthing sex in this religion or that religion. But I think we in modern days take a too flippant view of it, because obviously you're taking the joining of two people, an intimate thing. Definitely not the most intimate of of emotions, or could be, and you're stripping it of emotions. You're interacting in this way with multiple people. Uh, when I mean intimate, I mean to your identity physically, and it does kind of change you. And I think it's strange that the only people who choose to show any restraint, um, who I see, who I've come across, have been these very either guys who are very meek, well, even women who are very like kind of creepy, you know. And it's strange that people, and I'm sure when people come across me or my friends, they think, oh, you probably, a lot of, not the case. Um, and it's not really something that it's like, hey, I have no. It seems like the secular world and the Protestant world have this huge hang up with sex. You can see all the movies. It's not really. It's something that people can't confront. That's why you have these huge swings and people, I just like it. But it's gotten to a point where it's totally detached. People say, well, I have urges of it, so I can't. I have to just obey. I have to just fall into it at every single time. And if you have ideas or disciplines that goes against that, and your urges always win out, how are you falling to that discipline? Now, when I was getting off drugs and alcohol, I knew somebody who was a part of the Gnostic Catholic Church. He was a Thelemite. He was really into Aleister Crowley, and he had no. He was a swinger basically. He would sleep with anybody and everyone, and really didn't care. That didn't bother me. Um, I didn't. It didn't care, and he didn't really care about my sexuality either. But I think there's a profound difference in him. I mean, there was no effect. There was no negative view for me because that's what he does. He does it with consenting adults. He doesn't harm children. It's not rape. But when you come across somebody who will terrorize somebody else for not basically saying the words, I am a Christian, I believe in Jesus Christ, and not only that, but not believing in their brand of it, and then they, well, I can do whatever. It's the worst type of hypocrisy because it's not. It really brings Christianity down to a type of nationalism, and you can see why there's sexual sin there. I mean, when obviously when Paul wrote about sexuality, if you actually look at the context, to Corinth and the Roman Empire, and he uses very specific words like pedophilia, which we have still today. And it's actually in the New Testament. The word, I mean, not the actually. Um, things like homosexuality, transgender, of course, are debated among Christianity and always will be. Um, if you look at Archbishop Lazar's website on here, All Saints Monastery, he goes out and says, well, transgender and homosexuality is natural. We can debate on what the cultural um, mores of that of the New Testament, of whether there was the letter of the law or the spirit of the law. But I think it cuts across all swaths, whether you're homosexual, transgendered, uh, heterosexual, whatever you may be. This idea of just giving kind of license to it, not putting anything into it, even if you are a swinger, um, to just to kind of hold contradictory views, to not be honest, and not even to the fact. I mean, it's a sort of deep dishonesty, because I could understand somebody who would, claim to be a Christian for society's sake, and then just laugh about, oh, I don't really believe it. But this is somebody who will drag her sexual partners to church with her. And I've asked, because she's brought up the subject, I'm like, well, that you can't. I mean, you can't do that. That's not part of the. It's not part of the life that you walked into, willingly. Oh, but no. And there's no. Well, no, the Bible says this, or there's no debate. There's no even trying to back it up. It's just like, well, I don't. I mean, it does. There's nothing. There's no kind of feeling or remorse or guilt or, well, maybe I should try to not do that. especially when you're considering marriage with somebody who's not in this state and not one of the 4 people you're currently sleeping with. It's like a boundary issue thing. And I see that almost as the same thing as the people who are so bound up tight, like this fear of sexuality. Because again, it's not even intimacy at that point. It's kind of using your body as like a rag doll. It's very odd to me. You know? I mean, obviously I'm not the most sexually restrained person. I don't, well, probably not my area to talk about this right now, but I'm not going to throw stones at other people. But it just seems very odd to me that there would be somebody who's so kind of hawkish about the label Christianity, or somebody identifying as a Christian, and then as something that's so intimate to it, because I'm not going to say, oh, but that's just the old. No, it actually has to do with it. There has to be fidelity some places. And again, I totally think people who are homosexual, transgender, I know Christians that are, but the idea that you would just, it's almost a form of Nazism. Is the material world just doesn't matter. And I hear a lot of people come back with, oh, but people use drugs. I don't think, first of all, there's no mention of drugs in the Bible. It's not what you put into yourself, it's what comes out. So that can be defeated, and plus there's drinking in the Bible. It's just drunkenness. So I don't think there's any morality thing behind drugs or alcohol. Now, the way I did them, it's extremely destructive and affected everything. The outcome from putting that stuff into my body was horrendous. But I think a sexual act is not, I mean, you could say for women, you could say it's putting something into your body, but it is an outcome. It is an action, an ultimate action. And it's the thing in modern day Christianity, the deep hypocrisy of it is just odd, and I think we can see it with the Kent Hovens and all these preachers who are really, one way. It stumps me. I really don't have an answer for it. I'm just bringing it up because it's just so odd. Don't understand it. Peace.